The moment Adrian Vale collapsed, the crystal chandelier above the ballroom kept glittering like nothing had happened. For half a second, no one moved. No screams, no gasps. Just the soft clink of champagne glasses and the low hum of wealth pretending it hadn't just watched one of its own fall apart. Whatever, play. Then the billionaire hit the marble floor. Hard. Adrian Vale, tech magnate, philanthropist, the man whose name sat on hospitals and universities, lay sprawled in his custom tuxedo, eyes half open, lips tinged in unnatural blue. A thin line of champagne spilled from his glass, creeping toward his motionless hand like it was afraid to touch him. Someone laughed nervously. Someone else whispered, "Is this part of the show?" But it wasn't. And somehow, in a room filled with senators, CEOs, private doctors, and security teams trained for every imaginable disaster, the first person to move was a waitress no one had noticed all night. Her name was Lena Morales. Lena had been balancing a silver tray when Adrian fell. Sana. Tray clattered to the floor, shrimp cocktails scattering like discarded jewels. She didn't wait for permission. She didn't scream. She didn't look around for help. She ran. Someone call an ambulance, a woman finally shouted, her diamond necklace trembling with her breath. Lena was already on her knees beside Adrian. She pressed 2 fingers to his neck, no pulse she could feel. His chest barely moved. "He's not breathing properly," Lena said, her voice cutting through the chaos with a calm that didn't belong to someone wearing a borrowed uniform and aching shoes. Foment aching shoes. "You move back. Give him space." A man in a tailored suit scoffed. "Who are you?" Lena didn't look up. Someone who knows what to do." Security hesitated. This wasn't in the protocol binder. The doctors hired for the gala were stuck near the stage, blocked by panicked guests. Phones were out now, recording, whispering, already turning tragedy into content. Lena tilted Adrian's head, loosened his bow tie, and pressed her ear to his chest. "A clear," she said sharply. Then she started chest compressions. 1, 2, 3. The room went silent, except for the rhythm of her hands and the pounding of her own heart. She counted under her breath, sweat forming at her hairline. 30 compressions. Breath. Again. Someone muttered, "This is insane." Someone else said, "She's going to kill him." Lena ignored them all. Because she had seen this before. Not in a ballroom with gold-plated walls, but in a cramped kitchen in East LA, where sirens came too late and help was always someone else's problem. Adrian Vale gasped. It was small, barely there, but it was enough to send a shockwave through the room. A woman screamed. A man dropped his phone. Lena didn't stop. "Stay with me," she whispered, like she was talking to someone she knew. "You don't get to leave yet." When paramedics finally forced their way through the crowd, Adrian was breathing, unevenly, weakly, but alive. They lifted him onto a stretcher. As they rushed him out, Adrian's fingers twitched, and for just a moment, his eyes focused. On Lena, he tried to speak. No sound came out. She leaned closer without thinking. "Why?" he croaked, barely audible. Lena swallowed. "Because someone should." When he was gone, wheeled away, swallowed by flashing lights and shouting voices. And just like that, the gala resumed its noise. Except Lena knew something had shifted. She could feel it in her bones. The next morning, Lena was fired. "Corporate decision," her manager said, not meeting her eyes. "You violated protocol. Liability issues." Lena nodded. She'd expected it. Doing the right thing had never paid well in her experience. She walked home to her studio apartment, passing billboards with Adrian Vale's face smiling down at the city. Visionary, savior, billionaire. She laughed bitterly. 2 days later, there was a knock at her door. 3 men stood in the hallway. Expensive suits, serious faces. One of them said, "Ms. Morales, Mr. Vale would like to see you." Lena froze. "He's awake?" she asked. The man nodded. "And asking questions no one else can answer." Adrian Vale woke up to silence, not the peaceful kind, but the heavy, monitored silence of a private hospital room where every beep meant someone was watching. He remembered pain, pressure, darkness, and hands, strong, certain, human. Find her, he told his head of security the moment he could speak clearly. The waitress, they tried to redirect him. PR statements, doctor's explanations, stress, rare condition. Adrian cut them off. She knew exactly what to do, he said. That wasn't luck. When Lena stepped into his room, he studied her like she was a puzzle he hadn't known existed. "You saved my life," he said. Lena crossed her arms. "I did my job. Even if it wasn't the one I was hired for." Adrian smiled faintly. You were more competent than half the people I pay millions. That was the beginning, not of a fairy tale, but of a reckoning. Adrian learned that Lena had been a paramedic trainee once before her father's medical debt crushed her family, before she dropped out to work 3 jobs, before survival replaced ambition. Lena learned that Adrian's collapse wasn't random. It was poison, slow, calculated, administered over months. Someone wanted him dead, and the deeper they dug, the uglier the truth became. Embezzlement, betrayals, a partner named Caleb Rowe who smiled too easily and stood to gain everything. Lena didn't want to be involved. But when threats started appearing under her door, when her younger brother Matteo was followed home from school, when silence became more dangerous than truth, she stayed. Together, they faced lawsuits, smear campaigns, assassination attempts disguised as accidents. Adrian had money. Lena had instinct, and neither of them could do it alone. The final confrontation didn't happen in a boardroom. It happened in a courtroom packed with cameras, where Caleb Rowe finally cracked under evidence Lena had spotted, the kind everyone else overlooked because it didn't come from power. When the verdict was read, Adrian exhaled like a man who had been holding his breath for years. Outside, reporters swarmed Lena. "How did you do it?" One asked. "You had nothing to gain." Lena looked straight into the camera. "That's not true," she said. "I gained proof that ordinary people matter, even in rooms built to forget us." Months later, Adrian stood on a stage, healthier, humbler. He announced the Morales Initiative, full scholarships for emergency medical training, debt relief for first responders, and a quiet clause. No one noticed at first. Lena Morales was named director. Bubber. She didn't wear a uniform anymore, but she never forgot who she was. Because sometimes the world doesn't change when the powerful fall. It changes when the invisible refuse to look away. And no one ever looked at a waitress the same way again.